Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about Jest, very specifically mocking versus spy. So basically if you're using Jest for testing your application, no matter in what level, you might end up using mocks or a spy. And in this video I'm going to talk about how you can use any of them and what are the differences. So let's just dive in and find out how we can achieve this. So here in my package.json you can see I have Jest. So Jest 29 and also the type for the Jest. I'm also using TypeScript, so you can see there is a TypeScript here and there's a types for the Node.js as well. And then we have rimraf to just really clean some some directories, nothing very fancy. We have Jest, so to run the TypeScript and Jest together. And then we have tsup to create the build. And in my script, I don't really have anything very fancy. As you can see, again, we have a build, which is really using tsup to build something. And then we have clean, which is cleaning, lint, which is linting. And then we have test, which is running Jest. And that's all. And if you go and look in a jest.config, we are using tsjest as a preset. And the environment is Node.js. Then we're going to transform it by this. And then we are looking in the root, the roots is src directory, and we are looking with anything with .spec.ts. Okay, this is just config. So I'm going to close this too. And now the next thing is I'm going to go to source. In the source, we have two files. So basically we have get user. In a get user, we really try to have, like, we just want to, for demonstration, we want to have a function. So it has a function which is get user, and also you can see it receive an ID, which is a number, and then it return a promise, which is a user. And then there is a console log, and then if ID is less than 0, it throws an error. You can see the error is here. And then it, for example, goes to a database, get the user or find the user, and then return the user. Now let's look at the find user. So looking at the user, we don't really do much anything here. So we have a type, and also we're checking if it's active. And that's how we calculate is active, basically by the ID. And then assuming it's a database or something, it's gonna wait 1.5 seconds. I know it's very slow, but just for demonstration, then it's going to return the user. Assuming here you're going to call an API or call database or whatever, it's just for a demonstration. Okay. So next thing that we're going to do is write test in Jest. Okay, let's start with the mock. It's very simple. Now we have describe, so we are describing something and then we are testing. So when testing get user with a Jest mock, it should return active user. Okay, to begin with, so first thing we need to do, we need to just actually, okay, I'm gonna open these two side by side. So we're gonna call get user. So let's import it. So here, when we have get user, now we can just literally check it. So let's do it. I'm gonna say const user equals, actually yes, user equals await, and then get user. I'm going to give it ID of 10, and then I expect then user, actually, there we go, user.id at this case to be 10. Because we are asking for ID of 10, so then if you look, when it goes to the find user, it's going to return the actual ID. But if you look at the username, then it will be username and then space ID. So let's also check for this one. So I'm going to say username, then to be username 10. Okay, let's run our test. If you use npm, yarn, or anything, there is no difference. So we're going to use pnpm run test. Okay, now you can see that when we are testing with a mock, it should return active user. Now if I just call this one, for example, 11, the test should fail, obviously. Okay, yes, because it was looking for 10. And also, let's check for the active one. Active to be truthy. So because it's number 10, the active is going to be true. So let's run the test now one more time. Okay, everything is fine. We are passing the test, but we are actually going to this. So from get user, we are not mocking anything, and it actually goes inside this find user and it run it. To prove the point, let's also put a console log here to make sure if you're here or not. Okay, I'm going to just save this file. Now I'm going to run the code one more time. You can see we are going to this line of code and we're running it. In real life, if you're going to call it, if you're running unit tests and you need to just call a database or something, it is absolutely better to just mock it, because you are specifically, in this case, we are specifically testing get user function, not find user. So what can we do here? We can use mocks or spy. We're going to just see both of them, and you're going to see the difference as well. The next thing that I need to do is to mock the user. So what I'm going to do, well, what I want to mock actually is the find user function. So I'm going to import that function, specifically find user. From user. Okay, that's the first thing. The next thing that you need to do is to just say jest.mock, and then you are going to mock the whole things, the whole file. Okay, now I have mocked the file as well. So you're going to import the function, you're going to mock the whole file. Inside the describe, you're going to create a variable find user mock equals find user as. So inside the describe, we have this function as well. So remember a few things. First, we have imported the function that we want to mock. Also, we need to mock the whole file, and then we are creating a mock for that specific function. So this find user is exactly what we want to mock, and then we are just casting it as jest mock, and now we have a new variable. So inside our test, now what we have to do is basically we're going to just call this one, find user mock dot, so mock resolve value. You have once or just resolve value, whatever we want to do. So if you want to just resolve it once, we can do that one, or we can do other things. This time I'm going to actually return a user. Okay, in this example we are doing a little bit different. So you can see we created a mock, and now our mock, we want the mock to return something different than the actual behavior of this one. So let's have a look. Now also we have calling the user or just get user. We're expecting the ID to be 10. The username, now it's going to be different because we're mocking. And also we're not going to have here, we're not going to have this console log to prove the point. So remember here we have console log. Now I'm going to run it one more time. Let's see what do we get. Okay, to begin with, so we don't have that console log anymore. So we only have console log from the main function or get user. In the user, we don't have anything. And also because it's mocked, now the data that we get is different. The username is not username 10 because we are mocking it. We are just telling, if you see this function, mock it, and that's what I want you to return. So I want you to return mock username. Let's put this one here and test it. Okay, we're happy. Now it passed the test. It doesn't go to the function. You can see we don't have this console log at all. It doesn't go anywhere and everything is good. The other thing that I really want to do is something like this. I just really don't care about the username, but I want to make sure once we are running this function, once we are testing this inside get user, I want to make sure find user has been called. So let's have a look. We can say expect, and then here find user mock to be called times with or anything. So I'm going to just say I want to make sure it's been called at least once. Okay, so now you're checking for the username and active, and also make sure this function has been called. Okay, now I'm going to run the test. It passes. Now if I just say, for example, 2, but we know we're only calling this one once. Now let's see what do we get. Run it one more time. Now you can see the received one was 1, but we're expecting 2. So that's it. So now you can see the behavior of mock. So we are importing the function that we want to mock. Then we will mock the whole file. Then we will create a mock from that function by this line. And then we are just really telling what is the expectation or what should mock return. And that's pretty much it. So this is mock. You can see it's quite simple. You just need to have a few lines and everything should work. Now I'm going to go and work on a spy. On a spy, exactly the same thing. We want to return active user or inactive user. To begin with, we're going to have the same thing again. So we're just going to call get user, and also I am going to just copy these files and go here. Okay, so it's pretty much the same thing. I'm going to remove the skip so we can run the test and see what do we get. I'm going to also skip the just mock for now. Let's just save it, go back here. Here we are just expecting, so we are calling get user 10. We are not mocking or spying anything, and then we are seeing the result. So as you can see, we have one skipped. Because we are coming to this function, we also see the console log because we are not spying on anything, and it passes as well. Here it's an empty test. It also passed that one, but let's ignore it for now. But let's see how can we introduce a spy here. The same thing is applied here as well. So what we're going to do, we're just going to say import star as, for example, user functionality or user functions, whatever you want to call it, then from user. So now we have, if you look at this one, it's importing everything as user function from the user file. The next thing that I want to do is I'm inside the function. I'm also going to say jest. Here we're going to say jest.spy on. So what do you want to spy on? We want to spy on user function. And what part of it we specifically want to, so in this function, because we are spying on this file, we want to actually spy on find user. So I'm going to just do this one, find user. So we are spying on the whole things, a very specific one, a method or a function from this file. And then dot, here we have quite a few things. So we can just say mock, either change the implementation or just return something. So we're going to say mock resolve value. Let's just do it once. And now this time, I just want to return something different. So we're calling for number 10, and that's what we want to return. Okay, now this time, if we are testing this, you can see we are not actually going to this function anymore. To prove the point, so we have console log here, we're just testing it. Actually, I'm going to close this one. Here, we should not actually see this console log because we are spying find user. Okay, let's run the test. Okay, this time you can see our test pass, and we're going to get different, well, we're not going to see this console log. To also prove the point again, now I can just say username actually to be spy username. Because we are spying, now things will be different. Very good. Okay, now we are sure that we don't go to this function and everything is fine. I'm going to close this one. That's how you actually write spy. So spy is pretty much the same thing. You are going to import everything with this format. So you import everything as a star, and then when you're going to look at the spy is this way. So you have jest.spyon, and then you are looking at the whole things, and then you look for a specific function or method in that object, and then you mock it. So you can just mock resolve, mock implementation. You can do a lot of things. The other thing which is a bit annoying is here. So we have a console log and I don't really want to see it. So you can also mock that console log as well. So it's very simple. You can say just.spyon. What do you want to spy on? So it's actually console, and then I want to look into the log. So if it was console.warn, then you should use warn here. And what I want to do, I just want to ignore it. Okay, now I don't see any console log at all. Remember this line. So we had console log get user. Now we're not going to see anything. So I'm going to clear this one and then run the test. Happy days. Now we are spying on two things: user functions and console, the log one. So you don't see anything. Obviously you have, when you're running your test, you can just pass silent and you don't see any log, but that's how you're going to just spy and return something. Okay, now we have spy. Let's just quickly fix the other one as well. I'm literally going to copy and paste for the inactive one. So let's just call 11. I'm going to call 11 here. We are expecting this one to be true because we are spying everything. If I run the test, it will definitely pass, which is good. But what I really want to do is I actually want to return false, because really close to the expectation. So now you can see it received false. So let's just quickly fix it to be falsy. And now if you run the test, everything is good. I'm going to get rid of this console.log. Now, if you run the second time, so here we are not spying on console, and I'm expecting, if I run my test for the second one, so we have active one and then we have inactive one, I should see this console log. But let's see if it happened actually. Okay, as you can see, we don't see any console log because we spied on a console and now we didn't clear the spy or mock. That's why we are seeing, we don't see the console log. So make sure if you're using just mock or spy, you clear afterward. And if you want to do that, you can achieve it in two ways. You can say console log spy, console log spy, then, well, you have created a spy, and at the end of your file, all you have to do, so we just run everything, we are happy, we just say console log spy dot mock restore. So we have mock restore. This time, because I restored the mock, now we have exact behavior of console log after this line. Now when we're running the second time, we should see this console log. To prove the point, let's see it. Okay, good. So we're not seeing the console log for the first one, but for the second one, we are seeing it one time. And if I just remove the console log for both of them, so we're not spying on console, if you run our test, we should see the console log 2 times. And we are getting it actually 2 times. So that's one way of actually clearing or restoring the mocks. The other way is very simple as well. So you can say before, actually we can say after each. So after every test that we're running in this scribe, what we want to do after each test, what we want to do is to restore all the mocks. So now you are going to see a different behavior now. Instead of just doing it one by one, we are saying after every test, just let's restore everything. Now I'm going to run my test one more time. Now you can see I only see one console log. Why is that? Because here we spy on it. On a second test, we don't spy on a console. Okay, now you can see exactly the difference. I'm going to open the mock and spy side by side, and I'm going to just tell you or compare them together. So at this stage, let's talk about the differences. So there are a few differences. First thing is that with mock, you are going to import the function that you want to mock, and then mock the whole file, create a mock, and then manipulate the return value or implementation from the mock. So you can see here, we just, because it's a sync function, we are resolving. If it wasn't, you could just say mock return value once, or anything that you want, and then it would just returning that value. On the other hand, on the left side that we have spy, we are just importing everything on that file, like in this format, star as whatever you want, and then you spy on that specific function that or method that you want to spy on. So we just want to spy on find user from the user functions. So user function is the whole things, and then it's an object, and then find user is one specific method or attribute or function in that object. And then you just either resolve the value or change the implementation or just return the value as it happens. And also there is one more difference that we just saw. With spy, you can restore the mock, and then after that, that function will behave exactly the same as, you know, the actual behavior. So it's not mocked and it's not spied on. But on the other hand, on the right side, on the mock, you cannot do that. So remember something, with spy, you can just restore, as you could see, and with mock, you cannot. And also with the spy, you can just specifically spy on one function. On the mock, on the other hand, everything is mocked if you use this method. But if you use this version, but if you just want to specifically mock one function and leave the rest behave exactly the way they behave in a code, you need to use this version, assuming you have a library and then you have database or DB. So you're gonna just require the actual one. So this is a jest.require actual. So it returns everything, but then from the mock, that's what you're gonna return. So you're gonna return everything from actual, but if you wanna only, for example, mock a specific function, not everything, that's how you're gonna do it. So you are mocking one function, which is, this one is mocked, the rest will behave exactly the same. So that's how you're gonna achieve only mocking one function from the whole file, in the DB. But you can see the difference anyway now. Mock will give you less flexibility in some cases. With spy, you can restore, you can just change, you can do a lot of things. And necessarily with spy, you don't have to mock the behavior. You're just waiting and listening or spying on that function. And now I'm going to just remove this one for time being, and also comment this line in case you want to use it later on, and run the test one more time. Let's see, what do we get? There we go. We get everything that we wanted. So we have console log. As I said, you can just either also mock the console here, or here we just spied on, and then the next thing that we do, if you don't want to see it, just put silent from Jest CLI, and now you're not going to get any console log. Now you just know the difference between mock and spy in Jest and in testing. So So thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to share, like, subscribe to the channel, which is going to help me and help the channel so much. And also, I'll see you in the next video.